This video will be a little longer than usual because once I'm done I wanted to explain exactly why I did it. Enjoy. So I decided to take a little bit more of a philosophical podcast type of approach to this video that I wanted to do. So hopefully you enjoy what you have to hear instead of what you have to watch, but just to enjoy yourself, there is something going on the screen while I'm speaking. So there's no real reason to know the specifics behind the story to understand the gist of it. So I'm going to keep it as blunt and simple as possible because it sort of comes across better than usual when you don't know exactly where it happened. And that's why all I really need to tell you is that the fact that this happened at an event that I went to a couple weeks ago, where a fortunate string of events brought me close to the front of the line at an autograph session with a person that I began to appreciate and respect a couple months ago, because I got back into the genre of the event, if you will. And so I was standing there in the line, and already it was a pretty ironical occurrence that I even ended up in the line in the first place because of things that happened that day. But I did, and I felt kind of privileged to be there because I was sort of at the front of the line. But then, as I'm standing there waiting for the person and to arrive and finish the little photo shoot that they were doing, I was just thinking what I would say to the person, because obviously they won't just, well, you walk up to them and hand them something to autograph and they'll do it for you. But at the same time, I felt like it would be sort of rude just to hand them a piece of paper so they would sign it without actually saying any words. So a big process started to run through my head, and I would say that it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't there alone, because technically speaking, sometimes I prefer to go to places by myself because I get the opportunity to have these random trains of thoughts, and I won't be restricted by having to keep up a conversation with someone. So it happened, and I was thinking of how this exact moment that was going to occur in a very short amount of time would impact both myself and the person signing the autograph. Because obviously, as I was thinking about this, I realized that I couldn't exactly do anything legal that would etch myself into the memory of the person. In fact, even if they heard exactly every word that I was saying, they wouldn't even recognize where exactly it happened, because they go many places and they don't necessarily remember anything but the very standouts. And I guess that as a completely average-looking one dude standing there, so like waiting for something to be signed, I guess I couldn't have made myself that memorable. And so the line starts to move, and I'm still standing there just thinking, what exactly am I supposed to say in this sort of situation? Am I supposed to just yell and bawl my eyes out and tell some sort of sob story about how impacting they've been to my life, even though that would be complete horse shit? I didn't feel like doing this because I can't get myself to lie to people like that just to get some sort of attention or some sort of etching in their memory. But I guess instead of this, just saying a simple greeting wouldn't exactly be enough. I felt like I didn't want to be memorized as a person that stands out. Instead, I wanted to be sort of remembered as a positivity. I wanted to be remembered for some sort of not a compliment, but some sort of positive words that help you do things in the future that weren't exactly, they would be harder if you didn't have support. And so instead, as the line goes up and finally I'm the person handing them my ticket, a very odd thing happened. In that second, I guess, I decided just to say good luck tomorrow. And for that, I got a thank you and I got a smile. But at that exact moment, as I was saying those words, I watched that black marker scrape over the dark blue ticket of mine. And eventually, at some point, I realized that you literally could not see a single thing if you're standing anywhere farther than about 3 feet away from that ticket. You literally could not see the signature, period, at all. And as I was walking away, just after a brief moment of thought, I was thinking to myself, well, I fucked that one up. And I guess you can't exactly blame me for it, because it felt as if back then as if I sort of ruined an opportunity. But instead, what I did is I created even more of an ironic moment for myself, and I felt like that's the reason why I'm reflecting upon it right now. Because I don't feel, now thinking about it, I could have said anything better. Because if you're that person and you in any way appreciate people enjoying what you do and people supporting you, then I guess something that you would appreciate would be something in the form of support. So instead of saying something like "nice to meet you," that would be similar words to anybody. But then if you actually give the person some sort of motivation to keep doing what they're doing, then that would be a little bit more of a successful talk, I guess, if you will, because probably that person, if they see a picture of myself, they would never in their life say whether they have met me or no, which is it's just the way logic works. They see faces every day, and they don't. And it's not their job to memorize who they've met and who they haven't. And so instead, they would think of all the people as a collective group and just think of how much support they get on a consistent daily basis. And if it weren't for those people that were saying good luck every single day, and if it weren't for those people that would support them, then I guess they wouldn't be as happy, I guess, doing what they did. And so looking back at that moment now, I think I did my best possible job just by saying 3 simple words. And then as a second little thing, I look at that autograph ticket and I think to myself, well, it doesn't really matter if I can see it. I mean, I can if I look at it closely, but it doesn't really matter if anyone else can see it. I mean, it's important enough to myself because this person is someone that in a way I would always support and care for. And I feel that it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone else in this universe would care if I had this autograph, but I guess in a way I feel like I'm grateful for it, because it was sort of the pinnacle point of an ironic day. Because if it wasn't for the events that happened before, I wouldn't even be in that line. And if I did something really stupid, I would not have that autograph. But instead, it actually all worked out. And what I have is an exactly ironic autograph representing an ironic day. And I guess now thinking about it, I would rather have what I have now, black marker on a dark, dark blue background, than a completely visible signed massive thing that's worth a lot of money, because that wouldn't exactly represent the circumstances under which whatever happened. And so I guess thinking about it now, I think I'm perfectly fine with what I acquired and what I achieved that day, and I'm perfectly fine with exactly what happened. And even though I don't consider myself the greatest of conversationists or people that would be good to speaking with living human beings that are standing in front of me, I think in that certain situation, I did exactly what I had to. And so, good luck tomorrow. Thank you, Smile Autograph. That is that is the short 5 or so seconds that that means something to me, because I know out of all of the normal moments in my life, I would remember this, just because of how ironic in its sense it was. And I feel that more than anything, an ironic event would be more memorable than just a normal one. And so that's what I think, and that's what I truly believe, and that's why this moment signifies so much to me, because it feels like it was different from something. And I guess that's what we live for every single day, to get something different, to get a new sort of spice of life. And I guess that was the ultimate goal that I achieved that day, and yeah, it feels great. And so here comes the reasoning for why I even did this sort of video in the first place. I've been sort of reflecting back at my long and unfortunate appearance on the face of the internet as a person that speaks to others while images appear on the screen. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, why exactly is it so difficult for people to enjoy what I do? And then I realized, well, they can't enjoy it if they can't find it. And it's just like finding a hay in a haystack, not a needle in a haystack, because I guess finding that would be an achievement. Instead, what you find is a piece of hay and a very large abundance of pieces of hay. And so I guess looking at all the people that do exactly the same shit that I've been trying to do for a year and a half, it's sort of not going to work out. And back then, when people who are successful today started, there's only about 30 of them in total across the entire just face of YouTube, and I guess that's what made them stand out more than anyone. So instead, I've been more or less attracted by the idea of doing more of a podcast type of speaking thing, because I've been attracted to that idea because of a YouTuber that I absolutely love, who did a 1 million 8-hour podcast. And I felt like I enjoyed it, and I felt like sometimes, especially because I'm more of a musically inclined person, I'd rather listen to something than watch it. And it feels weird to me how some people nail the combination, and then some people want you to listen to them and watch just a mirage of epilepsy-causing colors on the screen while they do it. And I feel like that's too much for a person. I feel like that's a reason why people aren't as successful. And I wanted, even though right now I'm starting at a pretty rock base zero level, I feel that I would rather be doing this than doing some sort of energetic commentary gameplay thing. And so that's what I like to do. And because of just how much, just the person that I am, I guess I would rather be doing this than anything else, because I know myself as a person that prefers to sometimes, well, most of the time, to be alone and think of thoughts myself. And I guess that's how I get by 22 or so hours of the day, by just keeping things to myself and letting them run through my head. And I guess it's sort of a little bit of a relieving remedy to at least be able to speak them into a microphone, so I have them in digital form on my computer and on the internet. And so I guess that would be sort of useful for me to let things go. And I feel that because of how I've lived my life and because of how I am as a person, I feel like the way I think could be at least a little bit different from how other people think, and how I organize my trains of thought would be different from most people that would be doing this sort of thing. And so what I wanted to do is to take seemingly insignificant topics and discuss them and analyze them, because that's what I do, and do more of a podcasty type of thing, because I would prefer if people enjoyed listening to what I have to say than watching what they have to watch, because it's very difficult to get something original on the screen, especially because hundreds of thousands of people are doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing, and that's posting some sort of gameplay behind their video and wanting people to attract themselves to it. And I feel like that would be asking a little bit too much of people, because I guess it would be boring to just watch something for so long. And I guess unless it's sort of a film that tells a massive story over time, I don't feel like a video of some sort of gameplay would be attractive enough to watch over a large period of time. And so I guess listening to at least my thoughts run on, and listening to myself discover something, would at least be a little bit more attractive of a thing to participate in, as I take an idea and just deconstruct it to its core. But I feel like that's enough said for why I'm doing this, because I live in a free goddamn country, and I can do whatever I want, and I don't necessarily care if people agree with me. I care if a video like this would get people to think about it a little more often. And I guess the gist of the story that I told would be more of a appreciate what you have type of thing, because I guess a very detailed idea could have a very broad meaning. And I guess in this case, you could take that story and just twist it in many shapes and sizes, and depending on your perspective, you could think of it many different ways. And so I guess that was the point of everything that I did for the last 16 minutes. And I think it's good enough to end it now, because I feel like it's getting a little bit of a drag. And so without further ado, I hope that you carry on with your day the way you were planning on doing before. But in your spare time, just think about the things you have, and think about how you got them, and think about what things you would remember as you go along in your life.